Today, we're going to be looking at the stem on the front of this bike. This is a 2012 Allez Evo by Specialized, and we're about to take the stem off of it to do some customization, as this is going to be a bike that I ride in the near future. So I thought that'd be a great opportunity to kind of show y'all one of the stranger things that Specialized has done for bike design in the last decade or so. This particular stem and its S-Works equivalent, they've come on thousands of bikes since probably around 2008. So there's definitely plenty of them out there on the market. If you buy a used Specialized, you have a pretty good chance of coming across one, and frankly there just aren't a whole lot of videos out there explaining it. So I figured I'd do a deep dive, pull it apart, show you all what's going on with it and some of the unique adjustment attributes of this particular stem. Also important to note that a couple of other companies have designed a fairly similar stem with, I'll call it a shin inside of it that allows you to change the angle. So while this isn't a perfect guide for every single brand of stem like this, it certainly is a good place to start if you find yourself with a bike that has some equipment like this on it. So we're going to take our strap here. I like to use something that's soft so it won't scratch the frame. We're just going to tie that there so that once this is loose, that fork can't just fall out the bottom of the bike. To change the angle on this stem, we're going to go ahead and start by loosening the top cap. We'll pull that off into the side. And then we're going to loosen the two bolts holding the stem to the steerer tube. And at this point, with our fork correctly secured, you can go ahead and remove the stem just like any other. Now, what makes it a Comp Multi stem, or an S-Works Multi, is this little wedge right here. And you can flip this around to minutely change the angle that this stem is sitting at, rather than just the usual flipping the stem up and over. Now that's still possible here, and if we were to flip this, and this side were on the underside, we would want to make sure that this were on the bottom. In other words, no matter what orientation you set the stem up in, this side with the flange should always be on the bottom. So we're going to go ahead and put that back in there. It's important to note that the slit on the wedge should match up to the slit in the stem. If you don't get those matched up, for one, the handlebars will actually be cockeyed, and you won't really be able to completely tighten that clamp correctly. So we're going to go ahead and reinstall that. We're going to get our top cap, and basically this hole in these top caps, specifically for this stem, it's drilled a little bit off center so that this can sit flush in the hole. And I'll kind of show that here in a sec. It's important to note that if you have a normal top cap and you're unable to acquire one of these, Specialized, at least at one point, was making an adapter washer that would allow you to kind of offset your standard top cap. Not sure if they're really still making that part anymore. It seems to get harder to find them by the day, but nonetheless, there's probably one out there somewhere. So we're going to go ahead and put this back on. And just to show y'all, this is actually a great example of how not to do things. You can see that this little lip here is sticking up. If we take this top cap and just spin it around 90 degrees, it actually sits down in there real nice. Want to make sure we're kind of orienting that positive and negative the same way as the slit in the clamp. We don't have to go crazy tight on this. After all we're doing is just bringing all this together. If you tighten this bolt too much, and it's easy to overdo it, you will actually end up causing your steering to be too hard. So just don't go too crazy on it. Finger tight's all it takes. And then at this point, we're just going to go ahead and tighten down the clamp just like any other. And now you know enough to be dangerous. Have fun out there.